Hi folks, we're back here today with another repair, restore, bring back to former glory and potentially beyond, if you will. And today we're going to be looking at this, the Atari 2600. Some might say the grandfather, the great-great-grandfather. Perhaps not the first video game, but I think we can all agree that this was the one that perhaps put home video gaming on the map, or certainly in my opinion. You're obviously free to have your own opinions on things. So I picked this up on eBay a week or so ago, listed as spares and repairs. Spares and repairs always intrigues me with lots because they genuinely could be spares and repairs, untested, i.e. somebody just doesn't have the ability to test them. For whatever reason, perhaps something in the box has got broken, and that's what we're going to be looking at in a short while. Or people know they don't work and sell them as untested. Hey, you do what you need to do. But I always think, do you know what? Let's give it a whirl and let's see if we can fix it. For the price that I picked this up at, I think it was just over £30 with a couple of extras, which we'll look at in a minute, I thought this was an absolute steal. Sometimes I see the box alone going for close to that value. And in a second, when we have a look at some of the other stuff that came with, I think hopefully you'll agree that actually, yeah, even if this thing doesn't work, we've got a pretty good deal. So before we open the box, very quickly, I'll just show you the other bits that came with it. We've got a boxed copy of Firefighter, a boxed copy of Pitfall, a boxed copy of Keystone Capers, a boxed copy of Pac-Man, yeah, and a boxed copy of Carnival. And we'll be having a little bit of a look a little later on at the end of this video of some of the goodies that are waiting for us inside these boxes. But for now, let's have a little look inside this box and see what we're dealing with. So, in fact, just before we open it, let's have a quick rummage around on the outside. So, obviously, as you'd expect for something that's getting close to, or over 40 years now, I think, you know, around the edges is a bit rough, but actually, no major damage. I mean, I wouldn't call that major damage, perhaps you would. Obviously, it's just been slid in some sort of cupboard and it's caught on something on the way in. The back side, we can still see, obviously someone probably had a problem with Berserk, didn't like that game, so decided to claw it out. But do you know what? I think this is in pretty good nick, and I think we've got a date down here, yeah, 83. So over 40 years old now, and the rest of the box is in pretty good nick. So for my collection, I'm very happy with the state of this box. The other thing that obviously was very pleasing to me was the fact that the insert tray thing was still inside. Again, just I say it adds a little bit of value. I'm not looking to buy these to well, certainly to resell the boxes on. I like to keep these, but you know, a bit of a personal value, shall we say. So we've got the console itself. We'll come to that in a second. We've got a joystick, which I was quite happy to receive, and the reason that this was listed as a spares and repairs is this power adapter, and we'll have a little look at that in a bit more detail in a second. And it's always nice to have extra goodies, isn't it? So we've got some paperwork and bits and bobs, and again, stay for the end of the video after the repairs and renos and that kind of stuff, and I'll quickly go through all these goodies. I'm going to put those to the side for 1 minute. So here we go with the Atari 2600. Like I say, today, or on this video, it's not going to be today, we're going to be looking at just giving this a good clean up. And what I've done is I've been online and ordered the AV Mod kit, which will allow future users to not bother with the RF tuner to get it into the TVs. It's going to be able to give them that red and yellow lead to plug into the AV socket. Obviously, not the most modern way of connecting things to the TVs nowadays. Some TVs don't even come with that, but it's a more straightforward way, especially as TVs nowadays almost definitely don't have an analog tuner in. So yeah, that's something we're going to be looking at a little bit later on in the video. I'm going to be doing that another day because it's not arrived yet. However, to you, it will be seamless because it'll be later on in the video. Anyway, waffle on. Or not, as the case may be. So, the person that was selling this on eBay was very nice in pointing this out, that this cable is knackered, for want of a better phrase. It's obviously just where it comes out there, it's probably been trud on or bent over time, and that is the reason that it's being sold as spares and repairs. There's barely anything left on it. So what we're going to look to do today, or in this video, is prise open this. Okay, there's a couple of methods I've been looking at online, which we're going to experiment with to see the best way, or certainly a way of getting this open, hopefully keeping all 10 fingers intact. We're going to look to hopefully get this back inside there somehow. I'm hoping that it will slide in. I don't know, I've never looked at one of these before. Perhaps that's not even possible, and there's people saying it's not possible, but we'll give it a whirl. But yeah, we'll see what we can do, and if not, then I guess we'll just have to buy a new one to go along with this. So first things first, we need to make sure that this is working. Now, luckily, fortunately, I've already got one of these, one of the Vader models, as they're called. So I can use my TAD mod PSU for this. We can get it plugged in and we can get it checked to see if it actually works, because what's the point in fixing this and testing it and thinking this isn't working when actually this isn't working. So I'm going to plug this in. We're going to get the TV tuned in to channel 36, I think it is, and we'll have a look and see what we get. Okay, so now we know that the Atari works fine. We're going to turn our attention to the AC mains adapter that came with this. And obviously, like you can see a little bit closer up now, this is completely kaput. I've been trying to find a hard, fast and steady way of getting these open by looking at some other attempts on YouTube. Some of the ones I've seen have involved people locking them into a vise and using some kind of leverage system with screwdrivers and things. Somebody had an X-Acto knife, or the really sort of, in fact, one of these, and they just ran it up and down the slit. One person was using a hot air gun on that to sort of melt the plastic. And another one I've seen is somebody was injecting WD-40 into this groove. So my outlook on it is this. This is kaput. This is not going to work again. There's no real way of us getting to the rest of the wire under here, because it's just too close. This is never going to work again in its current state. So we're going to have a little play around with it. I'm going to use some various methods. I did start to do some of this off camera, then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do it on camera, because even if I can show you things that don't work, at least that's something. At least you'll be able to look at the things I do and think, right, he's made a right nose up of that. I'm not going to do that. So hopefully I can do this with various tools and have a go. And yeah, if you want to drop me a comment and say you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing it like this, yeah, all right, fair play. This is not a tutorial. This is merely me prattling around with this and seeing if we can get it open somehow. Off camera, I did throw a bit of WD-40 down here, and I've just sort of been like rubbing it in and dabbing it away and that kind of stuff. And you know what? I don't think that we've managed to get any headway with that. That blade certainly isn't going down there anytime soon. And I'm keen to keep all my fingers where they are. I've tried levering again with a flat screwdriver. I think this is probably too thick. But what I have got is a smaller one, which perhaps, because all I'm thinking is once we can if we just get a bit of breakage in the adhesive, and we can get something down there, we can run it along like we do with phones and other electrical items. You see where I've had a little slip there already. That wasn't there when I got it. But hey ho. What's also not helping is the fact that if I put the big light on above, casts this awful shadow over where you guys can't see. So I kind of think that if I work without the light, at least enhance the video. You know, the camera does at least enhance the video. I don't need to be able to see, right? Right. But I don't think we're getting anywhere anytime soon. Although I wonder if closer to that might be a bit... No, we can see somebody... So some of these things I haven't done. Some of these... I think somebody's had a little go at this already. So what I'm mindful of is the fact that you probably don't want to sit here for Lord only knows how long watching me trying to get inside this. So I'm going to go away now for a bit. I'm going to sit off camera and try and prise this open. When I have done, I'm going to tell you how I did it. See you shortly. Hopefully, with all these little guys still intact.
Hi folks, so we're back here with this power pack, and I spent a bit of time off camera working on this, trying to separate the two halves. And in the end, the way that I did it was to spray some WD-40 around the edge, really sort of try and jiggle it around, loosen it up, and then eventually just through working a, in fact this is actually a plastic key card, down into the crack, just really working it and getting that glue loosened up, and eventually with a bit of vim, a bit of vigour, and a couple of scratches here and there along the way, we've managed to get it apart. Inside, I wasn't really sure what to expect, to be honest. I've never actually looked inside one of these. We've got the board and we've got the power lead that's connected to it, and that's really all I'm concerned about. I think deep down inside there's various coils. Looks like there's some capacitors there, etc. But we're not interested in them. All I'm interested in is can we get the wire off as easily and as quickly as possible, and then reattach the cable and get it up and working again. The thing that does concern me slightly, obviously, is the fact that we won't be able to replace this bit, this moulded bit, which is going to leave a little bit of looseness, a little bit of slackness there. So what I've done is I've put a couple of pieces of this heat shrink onto the cable already, and once we've got these soldered in place, I'm hoping that if I double down on this, because once this is sort of shrunk down, I may be able to get another piece on top of it, might just bulk it out a bit. If not, I'll have to be a little bit creative, perhaps with a hot glue gun or something, but we'll see. So the first thing we need to do is get the old cable off. So what we're going to use is a bit of the old solder wick on the iron, on the board, sorry. So just get a bit of light on there. I've decided to go with a light on the phone camera today, as opposed to that the light above us, which casts that awful shadow. So hopefully we should get a nice clear picture. You can see what I'm doing, just using the solder wick to remove that solder, which is holding this wire in place. It would help if I held the right area. There we go. And we're off. So, now I'm just going to use my wire, good old wire trimmers, just to get ourselves a good amount of wire going on here. Give it a nice twirl. One thing I did remember to do before desoldering was to make a little diagram so I can remember which cable goes which side, because we don't want to be getting that wrong. So we've got the black and white wire to this side and the solid black to the other side. So poke through there. You know when you think, oh, I'm just not going to bother getting my stand out for my soldering iron. I really wish I'd got it out of the cupboard, because this is just, he's not sitting still. There we go. Stay. And of course, the first one went in really easily. So the second one is going to be a pain in the backside. Of course it is. Of course it's going to be a pain in the backside. There we go. Okay, so just go and grab my wire cutters. We'll just trim that off, just so we're not leaving anything that could short. And that is ours done. I'll just pop that back in there. I'm not sure. I think it's probably to, again, stop any shorts. So now the issue we've got is well, I guess we've got two issues really. Number one is we need to get some super glue around here, around the edge of this, to hold that in place, which is something I want to look at in a second. Because we don't want anything on the outside, really. And then the second one is bringing that up into there. And I suppose just sort of poking that through and heat shrinking it just so that that's not left exposed any more than it needs to be. So yeah, let's get some super glue on there. Let's get that properly sealed up, and then we can move on to modding the Atari. So we've got all the wires now soldered back up, and as I said, I'd put some of the heat shrink. I put 2 layers of this, and just to thicken it out a little bit. Now we've got this back together. Now I used super glue on this, and if I'm honest, it looks an absolute mess. I am going to go ahead a little later on off camera and sand off some of this and just sort of generally tidy it up a bit, because it does look a bit of a mess. I'm going to go around and put some black insulating tape around here as well, just to finish it off. And if I do ever get rid of this Atari, which I probably would, I'll probably end up selling it on, I'm going to sell it with my TAD mod power supply that we looked at earlier on, the one that's not been taken apart, the one that's not been messed around with by me. I'm going to keep this one because I don't really like the idea of fiddling with something of this nature and then like selling it on as something that's it's you know, it just doesn't sit right with me. At least if I keep this, I will know to be super careful when plugging it in and unplugging it, and the fact that it may not always work. But like I say, I'm going to go ahead just off camera later on and just perhaps tidy up some of these edges a little bit. Like I say, put some tape on just to finish it off, just to make it look a little bit more presentable. So next steps, the things we're going to look at next, I think I've mentioned before, is the AV mod that you can get for this. I suspect that if you're watching this, you've probably heard of something of this nature, or it won't come as a surprise to you that we can upgrade this, for want of a better phrase, so that you can plug it in to what is now seemingly the ancient red, white and yellow sockets on TVs, and that just makes it a little bit easier for people plugging it in. You don't have to tune your TV to channel 36 if you've even got a TV with an analog tuner, which a lot of TVs don't even come with nowadays. So I bought this kit off eBay. It cost me £14. I think that seemed to be about the average price for these. There were a few different brands, a few different makes. I just liked the look of this one and some of the things the other person was selling on their store. I just got a feeling that this seemed like a pretty decent one to go for. When I've been looking at guides on the internet, I've seen all sorts of people making them with, you know, their own breadboards, and essentially it's nothing. There's no complex circuitry in this. We've got a transistor. At least I think is it a transistor? I'm sure people in the comments will prove me wrong if I've got that wrong. A couple of resistors. We've got these RCA jacks and a bit of cabling. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to pop the case apart. I'm going to follow a guide that I found online. And we're going to sort of get this up and running so we can use it on a more modern TV. So I'm probably going to leave the camera running for some of these bits. Although some of them I'll just speed up a little bit and add a little ambience, a little background music to it. But certainly while I'm taking some of the screws out, I'm sure we can have a little chat. And what this isn't a guide on how to mod this. There are lots of documents out there, and probably people that have infinitely more skills at this than I do. I think I said earlier on in the video, I did one of these modifications a long time ago now on a 2600 that I've got in the attic. I don't remember if it was with a board that looked like that or whether it was with one that was like essentially what is a breadboard. I think at that point it was still, you know, they weren't as advanced, for want of a better phrase, as they are now. And I think if I remember rightly, mine actually was a bit rubbish by the time I'd finished it. So I'm hoping that this one
will actually look a lot better. And I mean, if I'm honest, I thought the picture on the small TV through RF looked actually quite passable. So I guess what this is going to do is just going to make it easier for people to use that don't have an analog tuner on their TV. So the first bit of the guide is taking those screws out, and then we're going to pop. What we're going to do? We're going to pop this. Oh, this is coming off in an interesting fashion. We've got board attached and ouch and everything. There's some sharp components under there. The thing that makes me smile about this is the fact that the aerial cable is fixed into the case, which makes it nice and easy not for getting off. What have I missed here? Let's just move that up a little bit. You guys can see. So at the minute, I'm just trying to get this. Let's take that out of there. Let's take that out of there. Were these supposed to have come off? Let's have a look at this guide. What am I missing? So, 4 screws, remove the metal shield. No, looks like I don't need to take anything off, remove the components. That's a little bit further up, right. It's just been a bit stubborn, isn't it? Let's try. It's been stubborn. Ah, there we go. Right, so we're going to say goodbye to the lid for now. You can go down there, and what we'll do is, as you can see, the aerial cable is all the way through there. And I'll give them their due. They didn't cheap out on the amount of cable that they gave you. They gave you enough cable to have this thing plugged into a television next door, pretty much. You know what's going to come next, don't you? We won't be able to get the aerial socket through that gap that it's left. And of course the cable's kinked, so it's not pulling through easy. Last little bit, and yeah, Kel Surprise. That's okay. I think we're going to cut that off anyway, but for now, let's just pop that down there. So, here we go. We've got our 2600 board, and I'll tell you what, this thing looks clean. Let's bring that down a bit. To say the age of this console, and I know it was listed as spares and repairs, but excuse me, I think, like I say, the main reason that thing was sold as spares and repairs was purely because the cable had broken on the power adapter. This, you know, when we looked at the box, it's looked in fantastic condition. So, yeah. So I'm just looking at this guide. I've typed into Google, and other search engines are available. Guide, AV Mod, Atari 2600, that's what we've got. And we've got the 4-switch model. And there's been a PDF that's come up from Sudoku, I think that's how you pronounce it. But I've seen lots of guides on the internet. I just picked up this one just because it was a PDF and it was there. Now, one of the things that the guide does recommend is to remove a component which is next to, where is it under this? I think it says something about removing this shielding. And I know these aren't pliers, so you're going to have to forgive me. I'm just going to twist that around just to see if, yeah, okay, so that does lift up. Okay, so again, I know I'm probably traumatizing a lot of engineers and whatnot by using flush cutters just to turn these little pieces of metal around, but I can assure you they are very, very loose. But I'm probably not gonna cut them off. I'm just gonna move them. Come on, to take this shielding off. Okay, so that's 1, 2, there's 3. Is that attached? No, no tab under there. That probably just needs straightening out a little bit, doesn't it? That one, and then hopefully that one will just, there's always one, isn't there? Always one. Oh, that I've done it. Ow, don't use your finger on metal bits. There we go. Okay, so what else will this yield? Okay, some more components. Right, and that's what we were looking for. So the guide says to remove Q201. It is not necessary to remove it, but you may try it if you want. I personally choose to remove, and apparently it would enhance the video quality. Now, unfortunately, I can't get to that from underneath. At least I don't think I can. Although actually that does come up. So I think what I'm going to do, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this shielding on for now because I don't think that there's anything else, or that could be proved wrong in a couple of minutes time. Nothing that is under there that I need to get to. If I'm going to take this transistor off, I'm going to do it by desoldering it. I'm not just going to cut the legs. If we can modify this and the quality still looks okay, I won't bother taking it off. However, if it looks rubbish or we think we can improve it, then we'll go ahead and take it off. So we'll pause that little bit for now. And we're going to get on with the switch installation. Hi folks, so we're back, and you may notice there's a few little extras on the board now. I've decided to just go ahead and sort of do some of the bits and bobs off camera, because I just thought, you know what, it's not actually going to make that interesting viewing for you guys. There was a lot of fiddle about, a lot of moving around, and I just didn't think it was worth sort of filming that. So just a quick update where we are. What I've gone ahead and done is, despite the guide saying to completely remove this, I've just unsoldered it from the board. This is the RF box, the thing that converts it from the digital voodoo and whatnot into an RF signal that you can plug into your channel 36 Mawatts it. And there's all that technical lingo coming in nicely there. So I hope you enjoyed that. What we're going to go ahead and do in a minute is solder these wires, which I've tapped into the audio out, the video out, the ground, the common ground and neutral and etc. And we're going to be soldering it into this board, which I've just assembled. Now the board came, I'm just going to try and focus that a little bit. There we go. The board came with just the board, the couple of resistors and the transistor. So I've gone ahead and soldered them up. And now we're going to be running the line from the board to the in on this bit, and then out of the Atari into the video and audio signal. At least I think that's the plan. So we're going to be doing that with the aid of some of this cable that's already connected on. Yeah, I'm going to be cutting that in half because we've got loads of it. Oh, the other thing I did was disconnect this from the cable as well. It actually came off really easily, luckily, because it was just connected with the coax type connection. So yeah, that was able just to there you go. Look, that just sort of plugged into the side. So this, you know, if it all just goes kaput or we decide actually we want to go back to the original RF, it means that we can go back to it. And as I'm talking, I've just noticed that my soldering iron is glowing red. I don't think that's very good, is it? So I'm gonna turn that off for now and have a look, because I think that is overheating. So yeah, don't think it should be that colour, should it? Perhaps we need to put a new tip on that, and yeah. It's all good fun. So yeah, that's where we are for now. Once we've got that bit soldered up, we're going to do a little bit of drilling on the back of the case, get these sockets mounted. Hopefully, we're in the end game. And like I said, we'll have a look at those boxes and leaflets and all that paraphernalia that came with it. We'll have a little look at that together. So yeah, bye for now. Hi guys, so we're back. It's a little bit later on in the day now. Unfortunately, I've had to put the big light on above, which is casting this shadow over. I do apologise, but it's a necessary evil, I'm afraid. So I've just been working on this for a little longer now. You might notice that I've moved this audio cable from over here where it was down here. I got a little bit confused actually looking at the guide, and for a brief second I thought that what it wanted me to do was connect from here, this ground, to this bit here, looking at where the arrow was pointing. Then I realised it didn't, but I'd moved it anyway, and that's where we're staying. So yeah, a couple of little bits upon reflection from the board that I've got. In the guide, it's listed as a VCC, but on the board it's listed as 5, and I now know that is the same thing, but I felt that could confuse some people. It certainly confused me. So where we are at the minute, we've got video hooked up, we've got the 5-volt feed hooked up, and we've got the ground hooked up. The 5-volt, I assume, then sort of goes into this area here, and some voodoo happens with it. The video then comes out here. Here. I just realised I've been pointing, you can't really see it. And that's now been connected to video out, and our audio has been connected to audio out. Now, what I did say, and what you may be expecting, and what I've done in the past with other video mods, is to drill a couple of holes in the back of the circuit board, back of the case, and then connect them. But I thought what I'm going to try doing this time is, seeing as though we've taken out the coax lead and we've got this bit of space, I thought I'd put them all inside the case. So literally just connecting directly to these sockets. And I suppose actually what I could have done was strip the end of one of these RCA, is that what I think that's what they're called, isn't it? RCA leads, and just soldered directly to the board. But that was a bit of extra faff that I wasn't fancying doing today. And actually that's destroying a perfectly good lead, when really all we're doing, and I know we're adding another section into the circuit, which, you know, could ultimately cause problems and stuff like that. But I thought for now, what I would just do is just literally just have them almost loose inside the case with a bit of tape and holding them down and everything, so that you know, although it will restrict the person from undoing the connections at the back, I think that not making it a destructive mod, for want of a better phrase, by drilling into the back of the case might be a little bit better. And you know what, like, I've not got a problem with these destructive mods if they're done right. I've done a couple of ones with Master Systems and stuff in the past, and it is what it is. I've got no sort of problem with them. But I thought, you know, just for today, I've not seen anybody do it this way online in a couple of videos that I've watched. Doesn't mean it's not been done. But I thought I'd just try it this way and just, you know, just put a little extra spin on it. So that's where we are at the minute. We've got everything hooked up. I'm going to go and plug it into the TV, get some power into it, and we're going to see what it looks like. The last thing we've got to try is adjusting this. Is this a potentiometer? Is that what this is called? Apparently this can change the colours. So the guide says, reassemble the console if the colours look weird. I guess weird is you know, you can be your own judge of that. You can adjust the colours by turning the pot, so the potentiometer clockwise or vice versa. So we'll take a look at that as well, and we'll see what that does. So yeah, just for now, I'm going to loosely reassemble this, just make it so that we're not sort of touching anything that we shouldn't be touching. And yeah, let's have a look at it on the TV. Right, folks, so we are back, and I'm pleased to report that we have a successfully modified 4-switch 2600. I'm going to splice in some footage of this playing back on the TV, which I'm going to record after I've done this, but I've just given it a little test, and I'm pleased to say it works well. A couple of problems I did have. I'd miscounted the number of resistors. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So the eagle eye amongst you may have actually spotted that. I'd gone one extra over when I'd counted this, and I was certain that I'd counted and double counted. So we've got the two components that we've removed. We then, actually looking at that, is that, I'm sure someone will tell me if that's a diode or not. But anyway, so it's this next resistor afterwards. This is the one where the audio comes from, and I got it soldered onto this one. So it was a little bit annoying for a while. I was having to go over and just recheck all my joints on the sockets that I'd soldered in here. So as I've said before, what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to stick down everything onto the inside of the case using some hot glue and various double-sided tape and stuff like that. And I am going to go with leaving the double-ended phono lead permanently attached. I think I'm not going to drill the case on this occasion. I've seen lots of people do that. I've not got a problem with that, but on this occasion I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as is. The only semi-destructive thing, well, I mean, you know, I've cut these legs off this transistor and a couple of resistors and whatnot here. They could probably be put on quite easily if we would just take that bottom shield off. This could certainly be resoldered on, but you know, drilling holes, once you're in, and truth be known, in the past I've knackered up cases and stuff like that by just being a bit haphazard with drilling. So I'm going to leave it as it is. So the last thing I said that we'd take a look at, I did say I bought these bits and bobs in a lot, and there were some extras inside, and so yeah, I mean the shadows not going to take too much away from the experience. I just think it's really nice that sometimes you can get these extra bits in a lot, and you know, someone's obviously taken great care of the manual and extra boxes that have come with it. And for me, manuals are a really precious thing. Nowadays you buy a game, and what do you get inside? You get a disc and a cartridge, and sometimes you don't even get that. You get a download code. And I think it's such a shame. I'm sure viewers of this channel that are closer to my age, you know, late 30s and 40s, will have fond memories of being in the back of the car or the bus on the way home from town, city, shopping centre, and looking at you know, the glorious artwork that adorned the front of your latest purchase, and thought, in about an hour, that's going to be me dodging these crocodiles and oversized scorpions. And yeah, it was all part of the journey, really. And for me, these Ataris, the boxes are lovely. I love the form factor. You know, Game Boy games will always have a special place in my heart, but I think they're almost like books. I think they look fantastic on the bookshelf, and especially if you can get them in the box protectors, which are available. If you check out my previous videos from gameboxprotector.com, use the code DADLADGAMES to get discounts. Whack them in the box protectors, and they really do look nice. And those box protectors will, you know, make sure that these last for another 40 odd years. So yeah, there's some beautiful artwork here, and like I said, when you're on your way home, Is that Crime Busters? Is that the same game? Crime Busters. I think this might be a different game. Oh no, Keystone Capers. The Crime Busters Handbook, the guide of how to succeed in this game. Someone has put a lot of time into making these, and they're really good. Yeah, a massive fan of instruction manuals. So this is the game that you would have seen being demoed earlier on when we were using the RF out, and then after we'd modified it. Magic's or iMagic's Power Firefighter. I mean, look at the beautiful foil effect. The dog says hi. And actually, another thing that we've talked about is, you know, the form factor of your traditional Atari games. Sometimes they went a little bit off-piste with this. So iMagic one, we've got it just a little bit different there. Beautiful creations. And as with a lot of games at the time, you know, we'd got the artwork on the front, which was a very clear representation of the graphics that would appear in the game later on. Or maybe not. And, you know, based on the real arcade game, you knew what you were going to get was a direct one-for-one simulation of the arcade game in your home. Not. But hey-ho, it was a different time. 1980. Pac-Man port that appeared everywhere was, you know, almost a one-to-one carbon copy of the one that appeared in the arcade, or maybe not. But do you know what? Having Pac-Man and games like this in your home was fantastic. I think it's something that is widely looked over by the youth of today, says an old man. A couple of last bits to look at. These bits really did make me smile. So you can beam aboard the Atari Club. I'm going to send this off. I'm not going to send this off, but I don't even know if the Atari Club still has any sort of PO box anymore. When I don't, if like Atari House, Railway Terrace, Slough. Maybe as I'm reading this, I might put that address on Google Earth and sort of splice that in. In fact, I think I will, because we'll have a look and we'll see what is there now. Maybe the Atari, you know, the Atari brand is still there. I just don't know if there's something at that address. Who knows? And then the last thing I was going to show you is this Atari service contract. Now, domestic and general insurance, I think, actually still exists. I'm sure I've heard of that. So, again, I don't know if it's the same one that exists today as existed in the 80s. But, yeah, the Atari service contract. Again, I was so excited. I get more excited about these things than the actual console sometimes when I found these in the lot. So you've got your warranty card, a service contract that you can take out. I mean, this is all in fantastic condition still. It's still beautiful. You can take out, you know, a contract, £14. If it's not in warranty, £17. And the last thing we're going to have a look at is this the service centre guide. So it's actually a list of service centres that are available in the UK: Avon, Bedfordshire, Berkshire, Buckinghamshire. The list goes on. So again, as I'm sort of browsing through this, Micro Machines Limited, I might have a look. I might pick a few of these and pop them on the screen and just see if they still exist. Maybe I'll give them a ring to see if they still honour the Atari service contract program. Mastercare pops up a couple of times. I don't know if that's a branch. Multi-Micro, Mastercare again, Mastercare again, Mastercare again. Little, yeah, okay, so actually maybe Mastercare was a brand. Look at this, JS Simnet Computers. I bet that was a family-run business. TJ Foster's Television. So yeah, it was just a beautiful time, different time. Thor Appliance Service Centre. We need to be having a look and see if that's still around. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've really enjoyed doing this mod. It was a really nice mod to do. It was relatively straightforward in that there wasn't a great deal of micro soldering involved. It was relatively straightforward. And if you've got any questions, you can always drop me a direct message or leave a comment with the video. I'll do my very best to help you, or point you in the direction of somebody that maybe can help you. As always, you know, I'm not an electrical engineer. I do make mistakes. Treat this for an entertainment purpose as opposed to a guide. But hopefully if you're struggling with, you know, not hopefully if you're struggling, but if you are struggling to do this mod, you can perhaps use this as a reference. I don't know. If you've enjoyed it, drop me a like and please consider subscribing. It really does help. We're getting some good traction as we push towards that monetization goal. Hitting that 4,000 viewing hours and 1,000 subs would be a great achievement for something that is a little hobby, and your support does always help. Enjoy the end screen. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye for now.